By the end of this video, you'll have everything you need to start cycle syncing today. Today, I'm going to be going over the 4 phases of the menstrual cycle, as well as breaking down the internal activity of each cycle phase and then the external action that we need to be taking to support each cycle phase. If you want to learn more about your natural rhythms as a woman and how to best support them, keep watching. So, hi everyone, hi divas, my name is Jayla. I am a certified transformational nutrition coach and natural health specialist, and today I'll be talking about cycle syncing like I mentioned. So my credentials as far as cycle syncing goes is that I've been practicing for about 2 years now. I started in summer of 2023, so it's been almost 2.5 years, which is crazy. Cycle syncing is actually what got me more into holistic health and the whole reason why I started my studies to become a women's health coach. So yeah, I figured it would be really beneficial to sit down today and talk about the phases of the menstrual cycle, just because I feel like there's so many women that I know personally that don't know much more about the cycle other than you bleed once a month. So I figured I'd take the time today to kind of go over everything, just so this can be a resource to anyone who needs it. So yeah, and I keep looking down because I have my notes here. I spent like 2 hours doing notes, so this video could be clean and concise. So we're just gonna go ahead and keep the ball rolling. So even though I am a professional, I'm not a medical professional. So do not substitute any information in this video for actual medical advice. Every uterus is different. So take everything in here with a grain of salt. If it resonates, take it. If it doesn't resonate, leave it right here in the video. And if you have any more questions or comments, definitely make sure to comment down below. I really want to make sure that this video was helpful. So yeah, any feedback would be perfect. Okay, so now that all of that is out of the way, we're going to go ahead and get into the menstrual cycle, what it is, cycle syncing, all of that. So before we start, I kind of wanted to go over what causes the changes of the menstrual cycle. And those are going to be the hormones and how they fluctuate throughout the month. And those hormone fluctuations are what trigger the changes in our cycle. So when we think of hormones, think of the Sims. You know, like the Sim meter that you have to keep in the green to prevent your Sim from literally like malfunctioning. Your hormones are the same way, and your hormone levels depend on how well you support them. So the main focus of this video is to tell you what hormones in each phase need support and how to support them. So just keep the Sim meter analogy in mind as we go throughout this video. There's 4 hormones that kind of dictate the menstrual cycle, but today I'm just going to be focusing on estrogen and progesterone. And so estrogen is the hormone that kind of preps the body for pregnancy. Think of it as like setting the mood. Like you got the lights low, music on, candles going, you know, getting the vibes right. Setting the mood in the environment to prepare for pregnancy. And progesterone is kind of progesterone is the hormone that preps the nest after ovulation, which is where that's the window where you can get pregnant. So progesterone is like laying the pillows, getting the nice cozy blanket, making everything nice and cozy as the body supports the fetus that it's now creating. So those are the 2 important hormones that we're going to be focusing on throughout this video. So estrogen sets the mood, progesterone preps the nest. So that leads us to the first phase of the menstrual cycle, which is the menstrual phase. And in this phase, this is known as the bleeding phase. This is your period. This is where, you know, you're literally bleeding out, essentially. So the seasonal comparison to the menstrual phase is going to be winter. Everything right now is going to be inwardly focused. All of our hormone levels are going to be low, like progesterone is at its lowest and estrogen is at its lowest throughout the whole cycle. So basically we got no gas in the tank right now. As far as external action, what we're going to want to do here is to really incorporate warm foods, like think soups, broths, stews. Everything is nice and cozy. Like I said, it's winter time, so that's why we want to really just sit down, like get somewhere and sit down, really is what you do during the menstrual phase. You make sure to support your body and rest. So since I was already talking about food and warm foods, I'll go ahead and get into the diet focuses of the menstrual phase. So since we're bleeding, our iron is like severely depleted. So the main focus is going to be supporting our iron. Classic ways is going to be red meat. During my menstrual phase, or even my late luteal phase, which is just the days before my period, I'll have like a steak. It's like routine at this point, and it's so delicious every time. And I don't really eat red meat like that, but during my menstrual phase, my body's like, give me that iron. Other ways to support iron are gonna be eating tofu, chia seeds, kale, chickpeas, lentils, and eggs. Those are all examples of foods that are iron rich. Another mineral that we're gonna want to highlight in the menstrual phase is vitamin C. Vitamin C is what supports iron absorption. So eating foods rich in vitamin C like broccoli, kale, spinach, Brussels sprouts, bell peppers, and fruit. Those are going to be foods that support iron absorption. And then the last thing that we're going to want to focus on during our menstrual phase is supporting magnesium. And we want to support magnesium because magnesium supports progesterone. And when we support progesterone, all of our PMS symptoms decrease. So supporting magnesium would be eating foods like spinach, sweet potatoes, pumpkin seeds, almonds, and dark chocolate. As far as exercise, yin yoga, walking, and rest. Those are all good activities for your menstrual cycle. I do want to add that while you're resting, you might notice that you're getting more ideas and more mental activity during this time. Any new ideas that you have, you're going to want to write down and think about how you can implement those during the next few days of your cycle, which is the follicular phase, which is what we're going to get to next. So now that we're in our follicular phase, we're done bleeding, our period's over. This is what we refer to as our inner spring. So continuing with the seasonal weather comparisons here, the follicular phase is going to be your inner spring. So internally, the internal activity, what's going to be going on is that our estrogen levels are rising to prepare for ovulation, which is the time when you're most like optimized to get pregnant. But we're not there yet. We're still the phase before the follicular phase. So in this phase, our energy is coming back. It's like when you go to the gas station and you fill up your tank. That's what your body is doing right now. So how we support our rising estrogen levels, 111 on the clock as I'm recording. Hey, we love alignment. The external action that we're taking is that we're kind of slowly coming back to ourselves. Starting exercise-wise, you can get into some low light activity like walking, swimming, Pilates, light Pilates, hikes, just easy stuff. We don't want to go too crazy right after we just finished, rebuilding ourselves, literally. As far as food and diet, we really want to focus on estrogen-rich foods. Foods rich in estrogen are going to have phytoestrogen specifically, and these are just going to support our rising energy levels. So this is going to be soy, anything soy, so tofu, soybeans, edamame, flax seeds, other nuts like almonds, walnuts, and pistachios, cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, kale, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, and cabbage. And then other foods that are rich in phytoestrogens are going to be carrots, zucchini, string beans, and artichokes. Also, like, if it's more helpful to have like meal ideas, I have my own cycle syncing guide that I like kind of built and use. So if anyone watching this video wants a like either a Notion guide or a downloadable template, please let me know. I would be happy to make a guide for people who want it. So if that's something that you're interested in, please comment and I'll definitely get a tally going and see what I can kind of get together for you guys. So we did exercise and diet. So productivity wise with the follicular phase, like I said, it's spring. those ideas that we were kind of thinking about while we were on our period, while we were resting, we're going to go ahead and implement those now that our energy is up and that we're feeling better. So this is the perfect time to start new habits, try some new ideas that you're having, make social plans, because the phase after the follicular phase, ovulation, we're going to get into that in a second. That's when we'll be feeling the best. So we will go ahead and hop into ovulation now. So this phase is like inner summer. I feel like every woman either knows when she's ovulating, or obviously when she's on her period or is about to start her period. I feel like those are the two most prominent times in our cycle. But ovulation, like I said, is summer. Skin is glowing. Estrogen is on the rise. It's about to peak. So we're really just feeling good, and we're living it up essentially. So to support ourselves during the most fun time of our cycle. So as far as diet, you might notice that your appetite is either light or non-existent. So if you're not hungry during ovulation, that's totally normal. Don't worry about it. I barely eat during ovulation, I'm gonna be honest, and I usually eat lighter foods. This is when I'm not really craving a lot of meat, like heavy meals. I would say definitely focus on more like light meals, cooling, hydrating foods and vegetables, like watermelon, cucumber. Really water-rich vegetables are going to be good, because while you're ovulating, your body temperature increases too. So you might be feeling a little bit hotter. So it's best to counteract that with cooling foods. Other things that you want to be eating are foods rich in antioxidants, which is going to be like berries, raspberries, strawberries, blueberries, all of those. Green tea is also antioxidant rich, so that's really good for fighting excess estrogen and just really getting rid of any lingering oxidative stress. I would opt for lighter protein options like seafood, which is going to be shrimp, fish, salmon, mackerel, trout, all the different kinds of fish, scallops, crab, oysters, lobster. I love seafood, so this is music to my ears. Exercise wise, this is the best time to do your more high intense workouts. So if you have a spin class, a really hard Pilates class, bar, running, a long hike, anything that's really sweat intensive is going to be the best to do during your ovulation phase. Productivity wise, get outside, go be seen. This is the prime time. Biologically your body's like, hey, we're trying to mate. So if you're not trying to mate, be careful. If you're not trying to reproduce, be careful. But otherwise, your skin is glowing, your hair is glowing, you're more confident and more resilient. So if anything goes wrong during ovulation, it's like nothing can knock me down, not a single thing. If you make content, this is a really good time to batch all your content because you'll be feeling the best. So yeah, the goal for ovulation is just to go out and be seen. If there's any big events, do those. If you're negotiating big deals, do that. And if you're networking, now's the best time to do that. Okay, that leads us to our final phase. This is going to be the luteal phase. So your luteal phase is the longest phase of your cycle, where other phases of your cycle are like 5 to 7 days. Your luteal phase is 2 weeks. So yeah, buckle up and get comfy with her because she's the longest phase. The first week of your luteal phase looks like this. You're still riding out your estrogen. Estrogen has peaked, so it is starting to decrease. And then your progesterone is also rising because it's like, hey, we could have just mated and now we have to get ready to support a baby if, the egg plants. Like, we got to make sure the uterus is all good so we can support that. So your estrogen is still high and your progesterone is rising that first week. After your progesterone peaks, which is like the beginning of week 2 of your luteal phase, that's when everything starts going downhill. Your estrogen is dropping and your progesterone is dropping that second week. And with both of those hormone levels dropping, that's what sends those internal signals to start like winding down for winter. So this is when, hi Loki, please, You can't see how he's sleeping, but he is knocked out right now. Anyway, PMS is triggered by the drop in your estrogen and progesterone levels. So if you can help support the drop in those two levels, that is what's going to help maintain your PMS symptoms. Now that I practice cycle syncing, and I've been practicing cycle syncing for like 2 years, especially with seed cycling, which I'll talk about in a second, I feel like I've done a pretty good job of balancing that hormone level drop. So now my mood is stable pretty much all throughout my cycle. Like my late luteal phase, where I'm supposed to be feeling like the lowest, I feel a little bit more low, but like not like how I was before, where I'm like crying, my back is hurting, my boobs are sore, like I feel gross. I don't experience that much of that anymore now with cycle syncing. Okay, now that I've talked about all that, we're going to get into how to support yourself during your luteal phase. So with diet, your appetite is increasing because, like I said, we're prepping for winter. If the sperm didn't reach the egg and plant, your body is getting ready to go back into wintertime. So you need to be eating more during your luteal phase. Now is not the time to be skipping meals and ignoring your hunger cues. Water retention is also why we might be feeling more bloated and like puffy during this phase. I know personally, I noticed that I'm a little bit more fuller. Like I'm skin and bones, but like I just look like I have a little bit more weight on my body, which I don't mind. I like the fuller look. Honestly, my boobs are a little bit bigger and I love it. But yeah, so if you're noticing that you're a little bit more bloated and like fuller, it's because you're in your luteal phase. So what you can eat to support your hormones during your luteal phase, like while your estrogen and your progesterone are dropping, is to eat complex carbs. This will give you a fuller meal, so you'll be full for longer because complex carbs take longer to like break down. And so it'll also support your blood sugar levels. And that will also help with cravings. So complex carbs are going to be things like sweet potato, chickpeas, brown rice, black beans, quinoa. You also want to make sure you're consuming healthy fats to support your magnesium, which I said earlier supports your progesterone. So healthy fats is going to be avocado, nuts, sunflower and sesame seeds, and olive oil. So like a really easy meal idea for honestly any one of your phases is going to be avocado toast with some seeds on top. Like that's simple, easy, quick. Other foods that you're going to want to eat are foods that support your natural detoxification systems, like your liver, your kidneys, I think there was another one. Oh, and your lymphatic drainage, your limbs. So this is going to be eating a lot of fiber, making sure you're having regular bowel movements. That will help with overall detoxification. And then also eating cruciferous veggies, like I said before, kale, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, cauliflower, all of that. And then eating high protein also helps with cravings and keeping you full during your luteal phase when you're a bit hungrier. Exercise-wise, the first week before progesterone starts to drop, you're still feeling pretty good. So this is a good time for strength training, resistance, weightlifting. And then as you go into that second week and so on, as you get closer to your period, you want to opt for more lighter exercise. So this is like mat Pilates, yoga, more easier movements, and obviously listen to your body. Okay, I think, and productivity for the luteal phase. During this time, if you didn't get pregnant, your body is trying to figure out what went wrong. So with that framework in mind, your brain is going to be looking for every single problem in your reality. So if you suddenly don't like your partner, that's why. If you find that you're frustrated with your partner around this time every month, that's why. Cycle syncing will help keep your mood stable, so it's not that big of an issue. But yeah, so while your body is looking for problems, direct that lens to things that maybe aren't working out in your life right now, like things that need editing, things that need adjusting. Fall time is, I mean, seasonally, fall is time to like get your harvest, you know, trim your bushes and everything, get ready for winter. So make the adjustments, make the cuts, set the boundaries that you need during your luteal phase so you can rest during winter. Hopefully that makes sense. If you're creating content, this is the perfect time to, like, if you've been scared to say something on your socials, say it during your luteal phase. Stand on business during your luteal phase. That's my rule of thumb for productivity. Stand on business during your luteal phase. That's the overview of all of the phases. Now I'm going to get into what cycle syncing is, which is kind of what I talked about throughout the whole video, and how you can start today. So I'm going to give you some tips. So cycle syncing essentially is just adjusting your lifestyle to the phases of your cycle. So everything that we talked about, diet, sleep, exercise, social planning, that's all cycle syncing. You can go even deeper and get into your sleeping patterns, all of that. But how you can start cycle syncing today is to figure out what phase of your cycle that you're in. So I actually just started my period this morning, which is like, I feel like it's confirmation that I was supposed to film this video today. The fact that I started my period this morning, and I started it early actually. So the first thing to do, determine the phase of the cycle that you're in. The easiest way to do this is to just wait until you have your next period. That's day 1. And from there, the average cycle is about 28 days. That's how long mine is, but obviously every cycle is different. What else? So first, determine the phase of the cycle that you're in. Next is seed cycling. So what seed cycling is eating pumpkin and flax seeds for the first half of your cycle, and then eating sunflower and sesame seeds the second half of your cycle. So from the first day of your period all the way up until ovulation, you're eating pumpkin and flax seeds. These seeds support estrogen levels. And then the day after ovulation, so as soon as your luteal phase starts, which is typically day 15, day 14, if you have a 28, 30 day cycle, you would switch to sesame and sunflower seeds, and these are going to support your progesterone. I also have, I think I have 3 different posts on my socials between Instagram and TikTok on cycle syncing, so I'll make sure to link those below. The next tip that you can do to start cycle syncing today is to start tracking your mood and tracking your energy levels. Just in your notes, like, how do I feel today? How did I feel today? You can set a reminder to track every single day. But yeah, that's the best way, is to start tracking your mood and start tracking your energy. The last tip I have is for, like, when you start slow. So don't try to do everything at once. You're going to get overwhelmed. Like I just said, start tracking your cycle by tracking how you feel and your energy levels. That's what I started doing. And then I moved on to changing my diet and adjusting my exercise. And now that I'm 2.5 years into cycle syncing, I'm working on cutting out caffeine a week before I start my period. And now this is the first month, so starting today, this is the first month while I'll be working full-time as a holistic health coach. So this is the first month that I can really notice my productivity levels throughout my cycle. So I'm really excited for that. But let me just review the tips one more time. Determine the phase of the cycle that you're in. Start tracking your mood and energy. Start seed cycling. And slowly build up your cycle syncing habits. So, with all of that being said, today we covered the 4 phases of the menstrual cycle, a brief description of hormones, the main hormones of the menstrual cycle, which are estrogen and progesterone, and how to support your body throughout the 4 phases of your menstrual cycle, as well as ways that you can start cycle syncing today. Now, I'm gonna get into my final thoughts, last little tidbits before we wrap up the video. So think of your uterus and your internal hormonal cycle as a garden. If you want the garden to grow and flourish, you got to tend to it. You got to get in there and do your yard work. So your yard work or your garden tending are the practices that you do throughout your menstrual phase to support your cycle, to support the flower that's blossoming, which is you every month. So how do you want to tend to your garden? How you tend to your garden reflects how your garden blooms. So just keep that in mind. And hopefully that's another like easy way to think of your menstrual cycle. Because I know with all the hormones and the changes, it's confusing. So I'm just trying to make this as easy as possible for everybody watching. Don't try to force anything. Be where your body needs you to be. If you start shutting down, if you start ignoring your body's signals, the cues will get quieter and quieter, which leads to a disconnect between the mind and the body, which then leads into nervous system dysregulation, disease, because it's your body trying to communicate with you and you're not listening. So the only way I can get you to listen is if I come up with some kind of illness that makes you pay attention. So just don't force anything. Let it all flow. And the last piece of advice I can give is that you gain the most wisdom by doing. After you watch this video, go watch the videos that I linked in the description. But after that, just start with one thing that you can start tracking every single day. Just start somewhere. Don't try to start all at once. And yeah, I think that's everything that I had to say. Like I said in the beginning of the video, I'm a certified transformational nutrition coach and holistic health specialist. So basically what all of that means to me is that I'm a holistic nutrition coach. So if that interests you, if you want to learn more about holistic health, how to nourish your mind, body, and spirit, that's what I do. I have my website linked down below. Also, again, if you are interested in getting a downloadable guide or even a Notion template, I have been thinking about putting one together. So if you're interested in that, please tell me, one, if you're interested, and two, like what things you would want to see in there. What would be most helpful for you? If you were to receive the guide, what would make you be like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad this is in here? Comment that. And yeah, last things, like, comment, subscribe. Make sure to share this video with anyone who experiences periods and wants to get a better understanding of them. But yeah, that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching, and I hope at the end of this you can say that you have a better understanding of your period. But yeah, that's it. Thanks so much for watching. I'm glad that I was able to help you with something today.